Hi, this is Trey Passer. Welcome to my review of Mortal Engines. This is the movie that's produced by Peter Jackson. It's based on a young adult novel that I never heard of. But anyway, it's kind of a complicated backstory, so I'm going to kind of explain it to you briefly and then get to the review. It takes place in the future after the world has gone through an incident, and basically there's predator cities, I guess cities that are on these basically on wheels, literally on wheels that basically, these really big cities on wheels that destroy these other these other littler cities that are on wheels. They kind of bulldoze them and consume them and take their resources and swallow them up. And they're called predator cities. And they travel around, and the biggest one is London, okay? And it's run by London, obviously. And there's one particular guy, engineer on there that his name is Thaddeus Valentine, played by Hugo Weaving. Okay, and the basic story is about him and his drive to push this city, London City, to push back. There's a place that's basically it's like it's not a predator city. It's a station where it has a big wall in it and it has all their people behind it and their resources, and everybody lives together there mostly. And he wants to. He's driven to take down that wall and get their resources because he's the bad guy. And into the story enters Hester Shaw. Like I said, if you see the trailer, you see the beginning of it. You know, she for some reason she wants to kill Thaddeus Valentine. She even makes an attempt on his life, and you see that. And then you have another character named Tom Natsworth, who's a historian who sees this. You know, he happens to be up on the bridge when it happens, and he tries to stop her. You know, he stops her from fully killing him, and of course she escapes, and then he chases after her. And like I said, you see the trailer when she explains to him why she was killing him, and she jumps off, and then he hears he basically throws him off the ship because he knows the secret of why he was trying. Now he knows the secret, and he can't let him live to tell anybody, and he kicks him off. So basically, you have these two people that kind of hook up together, Hester Shaw and Tom Natsworthy, and they basically are on the run from this predator city, and they meet another character, believe it or not, named Anna Fang, who she works behind the big wall, okay, and they have a plan to stop the predator city from attacking it. But of course, Thaddeus Valentine, played by Hugo Weaving, he discovers he loves old tech, and he discovers a weapon that can help them take down the wall. And this is basically the story of them trying to stop him from taking down the wall. That's But of course, there's a complicated backstory to it. Hester Shaw. There's another character in the story that's basically hunting her down. Okay, and let me first of all say this. I think this story would have benefited from being a miniseries just because of the complicated backstory. You get into her mother, Hester Shaw's her mother, and her relationship with Thaddeus Valentine, and then you have Tom and his character, and the fact that he's a historian and all this stuff, and always wanted to be an aviator and stuff. And then of course you have Anna Fang, who's a sort of a mercenary for Hank, with a bounty on her head. And then you have, of course, the Predator Cities aspect of this. And I think this story would have probably definitely would have been better as a miniseries, so that way you could have spread it out and you could have explained the backstories more. You could have given the backstory of the various characters time to develop and flow. Except, like I said, in this 2-hour and 8-minute movie, which obviously was probably cut down from what it was, but still, I think this movie would have worked better, or the story would have benefited better as being a mini series. I think that would have been the best thing for this if they would have did it like that. As it is, I still enjoy it, and it's mostly because of the actress, and I say the lead actress involved, who plays Hester Shaw. Her name is Hera Hilmar. I'm assuming this is probably her first major role because I haven't seen her in anything else. But she is really good, and she kind of, she's the one that drives the plot, and she's a real, charismatic actress. She holds the screen when she's on it, and you believe in her character and stuff. Of course, Hugo Weaving makes a nice, snarly bad guy and stuff. But again, you would want to know more of his backstory too, as well, because they show in flashback, some of his backstory with the mother. But again, things would have been played out if you could see these things and develop, and it would have made, I think, I bet this would have definitely made a better miniseries than a movie. But as it is, because things have to kind of speed up, in this movie to get you through all the plots and get to the end, to get to the climax. And I think the movie suffers in that way. You don't get enough backstory, but I just still think the actors are compelling enough. Like I said, the actress who plays Hester, and even the guy that plays Tom, who's extremely naive in the beginning of the movie, and then he comes around, and then of course the actress who plays Anna Fang, the leader of the resistance and stuff, she's a real badass. And again, I think it definitely would have, if this would have been a miniseries, you could explore everybody's character, and it just would have made it. I think the story would have just made a better miniseries. But as it is, the story has to kind of speed through some of the plots and stuff, and you even have a little backstory. You don't even get a backstory on the daughter character of Thaddeus Valentine. He has a daughter that that's involved in the story somewhat, and you don't really get into that as much. I think a miniseries would have definitely worked better, and I definitely probably think this would have definitely worked better as a miniseries. But this is my opinion. Anyway, as it is, I still enjoyed it a lot. But again, I think the story would have benefited better from more time. Just my opinion on that. So overall, I did enjoy it anyway. But again, a complicated backstory, and if you're not following everything, you could get lost in some of the story if you're not paying attention. Okay, so I'm going to give this movie overall, I'm going to give it a Mortal Engines. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it and stuff, but again, the story is just so much complicated backstory that they try to give you flashbacks and all this stuff to kind of flesh out the story. But I still think it would have worked better as a miniseries, just because it's so complex. The story that's with the various characters and the relationships and stuff. Okay, instead of showing you brief flashbacks and stuff. But just again, my opinion, it's 7 out of 10. Anyway, let me know what you think of Mortal Engines. If you've seen it, what do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. And if you like this review, please hit the subscribe button down below. I have links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Instagram in the description box, as well as a link to my other channel, Paul's Views and Opinions. Please check that out as well. And this is Trade Pastor saying so long and take care.